Live from Washington, this is breaking. Just now, a judge has made a stunning move against former President Trump. A shocking development that has already sent tremors through the Capitol. What this reveals changes everything. Official documents, sealed records, and testimony under oath paint a picture far more serious than anything previously reported. Sources with direct knowledge say these records include emails, flight logs, and internal memos that contradict public statements. Two internal documents surfaced today, and what they contain has already sent shockwaves through Washington. The courtroom was silent when the ruling came down, stunned silence. And what we're seeing now will affect more than just one legal battle. Before we go further, subscribe right now, because what you're about to hear is not being explained clearly anywhere else. It begins with the evidence. Late last night, a collection of over 35,000 pages of internal correspondence was released as evidence in the federal court. Among these were redacted emails between senior aides, showing a pattern of coordination that the documents describe as unusual, if not unprecedented. Let me read this word for word from a memo dated March 14th, 2024. All flights must be logged and approved, no exceptions. Any deviation is to be noted immediately. Read that again. The document is signed by a redacted name, but internal sources confirm it originated within the former president's immediate advisory team. But it gets worse. There is a separate flight log from April 3rd, 2024, showing a trip that was listed as private business, yet contemporaneous notes reveal multiple meetings with political operatives. Not once, not twice, repeatedly. The internal report flags this discrepancy. The stated purpose does not align with observed activities, the note reads. Then there are the emails, tens of thousands of them, between high-level aides and outside contractors. One email from a contractor, time-stamped 11:47 p.m. on May 22nd, 2024, states explicitly, "Per your direction, all materials must be stored securely off-site. No record to remain on official servers." Let me pause here. Think about that. We're talking about instructions that could obscure or remove official records. Photos were also released as part of the evidence. One image, taken inside a secure location on April 15th, 2024, shows several aides with binders marked confidential. In the background, you can see what appears to be a ledger or logbook partially obscured. Sources familiar with the photo confirm it includes schedules and contact lists, some names redacted, others blurred. Here's the part no one expected. A second photo shows a large crate being moved into a storage unit labeled only with a date. No other identifying marks. We also have witness testimony. A former aide, speaking under oath, described repeated instructions to ensure that all communications related to a certain project were routed through private channels. We were told explicitly, and I quote, "No official email, no official record," the witness stated. This testimony is corroborated by internal contemporaneous notes from two other staff members. Internal correspondence released yesterday also shows strategic planning sessions where the legal and political risks were discussed openly. In one memo dated February 18th, 2024, the council wrote, "We anticipate scrutiny. Plan for full mitigation. Document retention must be controlled carefully." This language, officials say, is unusual in both tone and specificity. Emails, memos, photos, flight logs, and firsthand testimony layer together, showing a picture that grows more concerning with every page. And while some names and details are redacted, the pattern is unmistakable. This isn't just paperwork. This is a map of actions and decisions that will not only be scrutinized in court, but have broader implications for oversight and accountability. The judge's ruling came after weeks of reviewing this evidence. Inside the courtroom, officials described the moment as tense. One attorney noted that as the final exhibits were introduced, the judge paused, looked over the documents, and asked pointed questions about the chain of custody, not procedural questions, questions implying responsibility and intent. And there are missing facts. Some logs are incomplete. Some memos have large sections redacted. Even so, the evidence that remains is enough to raise serious questions. One document, a redacted internal memo dated March 29, 2024, contains a line that reads, "Ensure that this record is not accessible outside the team." Under oath, the source confirmed this instruction was followed. Flight logs show multiple trips between private residences and political events, dates spanning February through June 2024. Officially, these trips were classified as personal, yet contemporaneous notes indicate strategic meetings with operatives and donors, not once, not twice, repeatedly. Internal reports also detail a series of text messages exchanged between aides in March and April 2024. One message chain shows a discussion about document transfers. Let me read this word for word. "Confirm all files are in secure storage, no trace left on shared drives." Read that again. Officials familiar with the evidence say these texts demonstrate an organized effort to control sensitive materials. But here's the part no one expected. The chain references dates and times that overlap with official meetings, meaning materials were moved while decisions were being made in real time. Another memo dated May 10, 2024, from a senior advisor states, "Communications regarding Project Delta must go through private channels only. Standard reporting is suspended." Internal sources confirm that Project Delta involved multiple high-level initiatives, including policy announcements and fundraising strategies. The memo itself is redacted in sections, but the remaining content implies careful planning to avoid official oversight. Then there are the witness statements under oath. One former official said, "I was instructed repeatedly to destroy records that were deemed sensitive. It wasn't a suggestion. It was explicit." Another testified that he observed crates of documents being loaded into vehicles for transport to off-site locations. These statements are corroborated by security logs, which show unusual activity patterns at government buildings on specific dates in April and May 2024. Photos reinforce these accounts. One shows a conference room on April 21st, 2024, with binders labeled only with numbers, arranged on a long table. A second photo, taken the same day from a different angle, shows a stack of boxes in a hallway marked urgent. Internal sources say these boxes contain materials directly related to the emails and memos already released. And it keeps escalating. Flight manifests from late March 2024 show multiple trips by aides with redacted identities. One page lists a flight that coincided with meetings described in internal notes as critical for upcoming announcements. The judge specifically asked for clarification on these entries, noting that the timing suggested a deliberate coordination between private and official activities. One document, a sealed record dated June 5, 2024, contains a direct quote under oath from an aide. "We were told to ensure nothing left a trail that could be traced to official accounts. Not once, not twice, repeatedly." Let me pause. Think about that. The phrase is repeated across multiple documents. The consistency is striking, and it raises serious questions about intent. And there are missing elements. Several memos are partially redacted with blacked out lines covering names, locations, and actions. Some emails were retrieved from personal accounts, suggesting a deliberate bypassing of official channels. Even with gaps, the evidence points to a coordinated pattern that cannot be ignored. Internal correspondence also reveals concerns about potential legal consequences. A memo from March 28, 2024 reads, "Legal exposure is high. Control all documents and communications. Follow instructions precisely." Officials say the tone is unusually direct and the wording indicates awareness of risk. Now, let's shift for a moment to analysis. When you layer these documents, memos, photos, and testimony together, a clear pattern emerges. Repeated instructions to move, conceal, or control documents suggest more than simple procedural errors. They suggest intent. If this were anyone else in a similar position, these actions would be considered deliberate attempts to obscure official records. You have to ask why. Why the repeated emphasis on secrecy? Why the careful control of materials? And why now, in the context of official investigations and court oversight, are these issues coming to light? The stakes are not just legal, they are political and moral. The behavior outlined in these documents could undermine public trust, disrupt internal governance, and set precedents with long-term implications. The courtroom moments themselves underscore the severity. Observers note the judge's persistent questioning, especially regarding the chain of custody and adherence to internal protocols. Short sentences matter here. The controlled intensity of the questioning paired with the layered evidence signals that this is not routine. The officials present understood the gravity immediately. Think about this. Repeated instructions to bypass standard procedures, coordinated activity across multiple offices, and physical movement of documents all suggest an awareness of potential scrutiny. This isn't about one document. It's about behavior. It's about a pattern. And when the evidence is as meticulously documented as this, the implications are profound. In conclusion, the judge's ruling, the testimony under oath, the emails, memos, flight logs, and photos together create a compelling narrative, a narrative of deliberate control and careful orchestration. Internal sources suggest this is only the beginning. More documents, more testimony, and potentially more revelations are expected in the coming weeks. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, share this, and stay alert. Don't let anyone tell you this doesn't matter, because it does. The evidence, the testimony, and the ruling all point to a reality that cannot be ignored. This is not speculation. This is what's documented. And it will shape not only the legal landscape, but the broader political environment for months to come. Flight logs show multiple trips between private residences and political events, dates spanning February through June 2024. Officially, these trips were classified as personal, yet contemporaneous notes indicate strategic meetings with operatives and donors, not once, not twice, repeatedly.